Okay, YouTube, this is my Singer 111 153 walking foot machine. Um, I would say watch my other videos first, and then you'll understand what I'm doing here. But basically, I'm trying to adjust the timing and the bobbin case. I'm trying to get the hook to go a little bit closer to the needle because it seems to be not hooking up correctly. So I don't know if you could really see in there, but essentially you're looking right over here. The hook is there, the thread in the needle comes down there, and you can see the loop right there. I'm going to turn it. You can kind of see the hook coming around, and as long as there's a little bit of thread sticking out for the needle or the hook to hook, it does catch it. But part of my question is, if you pull that taut, if the thread is a little bit taut, and I can't really do both with one hand or two hands, but if the thread is taut, the hook is missing it. And part of my question is, how low does the needle and the eye need to be? How much lower does the eye of the needle need to be from the hook? Should it be very close? Should the hook be, on top of the eyelet? Obviously, it needs to be on top of the eyelet somewhere in order to hook the thread. But I don't know how much is too much. And the hook is basically coming around as the needle is going back up. And I already lowered the needle bar to kind of help with this. It was actually up, I don't know, maybe not quite maybe like 1/8 of an inch. I lowered it. Maybe not quite that, but I did lower it in order for the hook to have a little bit more thread to catch. So, I'm afraid that I'm going to try to make the hook closer to the needle. Man, that's so close as it is. I just can't imagine it needing to be any closer than that. Any closer to that, it's going to touch the needle. Alright, so anyway, how you do that on this machine, from what I can understand here, what I've been doing is this screw and this screw moves this whole assembly in or out, and that in turn moves the hook closer or farther away from the needle. Seems to be pretty simple. One question I have for you guys who know these machines: if I wanted to advance the hook, the timing, I think there's a couple of ways to do it on this machine, but I think one way is to loosen. There's 2 set screws on this gear, and I think you can physically just leave it in place, and that frees the hook or the bobbin mechanism from this. So if this was loose, I think you could actually physically turn this to or rotate this wherever you need it, then tighten this back up, and that would save your placement. You see there's 2 set screws here and here. I think if I loosen this and this, I could physically rotate that to wherever I need it to be. And I think I'm going to try that because, I think it needs to be more advanced. I think, if you can see, I don't know if you guys can see where the thread is. I want the hook to be engaging it right there, and there's all this little space that I think should not be there. So I want it to be okay. So the needle is, the hook is right on the needle right there, I want it to be on the needle right there. So basically the needle starts to go back up, and I think that hook should be right in that thread when the needle is starting to come up. As soon as, you know, the needle starts coming up, the hook should be advanced, I think. So, I don't know, let's try it, see what happens. I'm gonna see if I can let this camera run and see what happens here. Of course, my tripod is not very, not really doing its thing here. So, I need to loosen that and that. And let's see. I don't know. These screws probably haven't been touched in so long. Oh man, that is on there. Okay, that came loose. So okay, now I got that loose. Okay. So I'm going to loosen one. And I'm going to, where's that hook? The hook is right there. Of course. Alright, so I'm going to put my hand on the actual hook. Just so it doesn't go anywhere. And I'm going to loosen this one. Loosen this one. And again, I'm just winging this here. I don't know if this is actually going to work at all. So I'm kind of thinking maybe that's not going to work. I think there is another plan of action here. So I'm going to tighten these back up because I don't think that it's going to do what I thought it was going to do. So that's going to get tightened back up. That's going to get tightened back up. So I think the other, or probably the correct way to do this is, so basically I'm trying to advance the hook. I'm trying to advance it a little tiny bit, and I think it may be these two screws on this shaft. So if you can see how these work, basically gear, axle, or whatever you want to call it, drive shaft. So so let me just see something here. Is that flat? So that seems to be flat. I don't think that's going to work either. I thought maybe I could loosen these two screws and advance, just physically rotate this a hair, which would advance the needle bar, and then I could just tighten this in place. The problem is I'm looking at this screw. This set screw has it looks like it's on a flat spot, which would make sense, which means I'm not going to be able to rotate it just wherever I want. So now I'm kind of a little bit more confused here. So how do you actually advance that needle? Alright, so back to plan A, I suppose. I'm going to move this bar over a hair, move the needle bar over a hair, and see if I can't get it to actually hook quicker, or faster, or sooner, or whatever you want to call it. So to do that, it's this and this. Loosen that. Loosen that. So I'm watching my needle bar, or the hook rather, and I'm just gonna and just so you know, I'm actually watching this gap and this gap to see how far I'm actually moving it. So now, see, now the problem is, I don't know if you could see that or not, but the hook is actually hitting the needle. And I'm pretty sure you don't want that. You can see the needle getting kind of pushed out of the way. I mean, I did this before, and that's the results I got. So let's try this. And I'm not going crazy on the tension here. I mean, I'm tightening these, but I'm not trying to strip them out or anything. Alright, so I think that is even a little bit better there. Alright, I'm going to turn this off and try to sew something. Alright, I'll be back.